We are going to give everybody a second to get in here. Go ahead and share this video, tag your friends to this video, do a watch party for this video because
we about to get it popping.
About to get it popping on this Credit Tip Tuesday. I'll be waiting all week for this. I do. I'll be so excited to talk to you guys about credit and stuff.
Excuse the tardy. Mother Nature had to get her photos in.
Mother Nature. Y'all see these braids, honey? Okay, for the culture.
Y'all, she's so annoying.
For the culture. So yes, your girl was a little tardy today. Had to take pictures. Even had to wipe down my mirror first. That's how you know you're taking some bomb pictures. You gotta clean the mirror off first.
Oh, Lord.
But Mother is here to talk to y'all about renting versus buying.
Mother. Y'all, please don't gas her today.
It is Mother.
M-U-gas.
Mother. I don't understand why I'm not getting no love.
Y'all, she been getting on my nerves.
Y'all not dropping no hearts. I'm trying to see some heart reacts. Like, I got these braids done.
Green hearts, that's all we accept in the Credit Tip Tuesdays. Anybody that's new, drop them green hearts. For anybody that's new, I am Kiera Gray, and this is Whitley Cherie with Gray Financial Solutions. We specialize in credit repair,
y'all.
Credit restorations.
Y'all like my hair?
Drop them green hearts. We only like green hearts. We're not talking about your hair right now. Green hearts. Yes, Leanne, for the green hearts.
Y'all can give me reacts then, since Kiera wants to be a hater this good Tuesday.
I ain't hating on you.
She's such a hater.
Whatever.
All right, guys, but for real, go ahead and tag who you need to tag, share who you need to share it to, do your watch party, whatever you need to do. Kiera is about to go ahead and launch her watch party, so we're about to go ahead and get started today on our, see, ugly.
What?
That whole moment where you just knock my braids in my face.
Whatever. You can't even see my shirt.
Her shirt says... I can't
see it because you got it all tilted up to the ceiling.
It's because I'm tall.
Yes, Trey. See, Trey, we know when you come
Trey
through because you come through with the green hearts.
Yes. All right, y'all. For real. I know we say this every week, but for real, we're not gonna be here all night.
She says this every Credit Tip.
Every Credit Tip Tuesday, I say I'm not gonna.
I got some work to do, so if she's here for long, she'll be here by herself. I'll be
whatever.
Got some work to do.
Boom, boom, boom. So we are here to talk about renting versus buying. This is such a big debate that I see a lot of financial people, credit people, and just people who are talking about assets and things like that have this huge debate over it. So we're going to come here today and we're going to tell you our stance on it. Funny thing is, I told Kiera I wanted to talk about this, but we haven't actually talked about this specific stance on how we feel about renting versus buying. So I actually
want to adjust this. Really
don't know if we.
Sorry, you can keep talking.
Always do that.
You can keep talking.
Videos,
almost finished it. Y'all almost closed it out.
My case sits in a weird way.
There you go. Boom. That's better.
Leave it alone. Don't touch nothing.
That's better. Continue.
Whatever. All right.
Mother.
Thank you, Trey. You know these braids.
Trey, we already discussed these braids. She didn't started talking. Let's keep it moving.
Okay. But one of the biggest debates that people have is the renting versus buying. And I think it's a very interesting conversation because, again, like I said, me and Kiera have not actually had this conversation in regards to what we believe our stance is. So this ought to be an interesting conversation to kind of see if we agree or if we disagree. So you guys will see that firsthand. But for me, I will always advocate for buying. I mean, what are okay? Let's just say, what are one of the main things that people say are the perks of renting? Let's start there because I think people have this idea of what perks are, and so for some people, I think the perks might outweigh. But if you're attempting to create like a financial, like generational wealth in your family, I think buying is necessary.
I think the biggest thing with people who choose to rent, their thing, a common misconception is that it's cheaper. It's It's not. It can be sometimes. No, it's not.
It's not.
It's not, because when I look back on it, you know, I rented.
It depends on where you live.
Yeah, it depends on where you live, but then again, it still depends how long do you plan on renting.
Right.
And all the money that you've wasted through the years renting, then you finally decide you want to get a house.
We're talking about perks.
You could have had a house paid for.
Focus on just what are the pros of
renting.
Of renting.
I mean, I guess if you are uncertain of where you want to be geographically.
I'm about to debunk that
in life
once we get into the conversation.
Oh, I'm saying this is something that a lot of people
consider as a pro.
Consider as
okay,
a pro.
Okay,
not saying that I believe that it's a pro.
Okay.
But this is something that some consider as a pro.
Yeah.
So geographically, I don't plan to live in this state for too much longer. I think I'm going to move.
Yeah. I think
like
metropolitanness, like when people want to be like smack dab in the middle of cities, as well as like maintenance, pest control. Some people like having that, like.
Well, that goes into them thinking that it's cheaper. To
rent
versus buying.
It does, because
so that's a perk as well.
Yeah, so you're thinking about it being cheaper in the aspect of like it all kind of being inclusive and not having to really worry about.
Hi, Nori.
Hi. So, okay, is that the only perks that we have?
Those are two that I can think of.
Can y'all think of any other perks of
renting?
Because I really can't think of a whole lot because I really am not pro renting. But
right, those are two things that that I've heard people say when it came down to renting,
which is it's cheaper, or they believe it to be cheaper, and
then
not knowing where they want to live long term.
Yes. Anyone else think of anything, any perks that can come from renting?
Right. Because we're going to go ahead and go on to the pros of ownership. And then, well, actually, no. Let me just first, I want to debunk those myths. Because, like she said, people believe that it is cheaper to rent. But I guess it depends on which way you want to look at cheaper. It's not always cheaper, because what did we have? We had a 2-bedroom, 1 bath. Mm-hmm. And we were paying what?
that was a special situation because I was kind of grandfathered into that. But we were only paying like $920.
We were paying $920 for a 2-bed, 1 bath.
But my 2-bedroom, 2-bath I had right before that was like 12 something.
Yeah, mine was $1,100. Mine was $1,100 for the 2-bed. Mine was a 2-bed, 2-bath though.
Yeah, the one right before.
2-bed, 2-bath was for about $1,100. Yeah. But you can find them for about $900.
I guess it depends on where you're at.
Yeah. Okay, and so now we have what? A 3-bed,
2-bath,
2 full bath, garage, backyard, HOA, all of that. And what does that cost for just like mortgage?
I mean, it's about the same.
So we're spending about the same amount that we were spending for a 2-bed, 1 bath in an apartment complex. Okay, boom. I saw someone put on here maintenance and repairs. That's definitely what we definitely
flexibility,
because it's being built in. Thank you for saying flexibility. So a lot of people think that because you don't know where you want to be, you shouldn't buy a house. And I think anybody who knows me in real life knows that I am the most nomadic social butterfly. I hate living in places for long periods of time, and I think that's why I did not buy a house so long. Like, it was so long before I bought a house. But now that I look back at it, I wish that I would have bought a house in every one of those states that I lived in.
Right.
Because let me tell you why. So when you're renting, you are paying $1,200, $1,300, whatever a month,
depending on where you are.
Depending on where you are.
Keith said $1,800 in New York.
Right.
For 2 bedrooms.
So let's just make it easy for easy math. Okay. So say you're paying $1,000 a month for your rent. You've now paid $12,000 over the year. You have pocketed none of this money. That is $12,000 that you were just like gone. Okay. Not to mention if you came in and you had to pay a deposit, if you had to pay first month, last month, any damages, you leave, 60-day notice, whatever that looks like. That is all money that you're not going to get back. You might get back 1 month worth of a security deposit. So you out of the $12,000, $13,000 that you paid.
Trying it. Right. They try it.
Right. You might get $1,000 of that back, right? Say I decided to buy a home and was like, boom, I don't want to be here no more, right? So I bought a house. Say I bought it for $120,000. No, we're gonna say $100,000 because we're gonna keep the math simple. Say I bought it for $100,000, and then the thing about houses, they're the opposite of cars. They almost always go up in value. Because as long as you're taking care of your yard, you're taking care of the internal, ailments of the house, your house will almost always go up in value. Okay, so I bought it for $100,000, but now I'm like, boom, I don't want to live here anymore. So then I decide you have two choices. You can rent it out. I'm not a huge fan of renting it out. I worked in property. Y'all ain't fun when y'all renting. People don't tend to take care of things that aren't theirs. So I'm not a huge fan of renting it out. But say I just want to I want to sell it. Boom. I'm ready to move and find me a new house, right? So I bought it for $100,000, but now I've lived here for a year. The house is now worth $120,000. Mm-hmm. It's gone up $20,000 in equity, okay? And so for people who don't understand how that works, when they appraise your house, they're basically telling you how much your house is worth, okay? A lot of people don't pay what the house is worth unless it's a competitive market. So a lot of times you'll buy whatever they're selling the price is, so you come in with a certain amount of equity, which is money that is the gap between what you paid and what it's worth. Boom, that's the equity that you own in your home, okay? So in that case, this example that I gave you, I have $20,000 in equity, assuming that my house is worth $120K now, okay? And I paid $100K, I got $20K in equity, boom. Now I choose to sell it. So I can sell it for anywhere between $100K and $120K. So now I've profited $20K.
I mean, you can sell it for more.
You can sell it for more. You can always sell it for more. You can always sell it, of course. You can sell it for as much as you want to sell it for, whatever you get people to sell it for. But I'm saying if you just want to break even, get out so that you can move on to your new life in your new state with your new boo that you got going on over here on the West Coast. You know what I'm saying? You can just try to break even and still.
Sponsor who's helping fix your credit.
You and the sponsorship, bro. I don't have time. So then you end up walking away with $20,000 in profit. Not to mention, if you're applying for a new home, you can either apply that to a new home that you're planning on purchasing, or a lot of times if you have two people who are on a house and then you have one person own one and one person on the other, you get to just pretty much pocket that $20K, and then the other person gets the loan for the new home, and then boom, new house plus $20,000. So I want people to understand that you don't have to be set on where you want to live. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want you guys to really hear me when I say that. If you want to move, you move. You know what I'm saying? Make sure that you're buying your house. We bought our house, $25,000 below value?
Mm-hmm. No, it was 15.
15. So we bought ours $15,000 below what it was worth. So we came into the house already with $15,000 in equity. And this is before we came in and did the repairs. So people who were following our journey in the beginning, we redid the floors, we redid the walls, we redid the bathroom, and we're going to redo the kitchen. And so then we're putting up a fence around the outside. We got the lawn looking really pretty. And so just stuff that we like while we live here is going to end up allowing us to charge more for the house when we leave out, on top of the $15K we already came in here with.
What are you looking at?
She said, I think factors like children will hinder someone from thinking of it from that perspective. I don't want it to hinder from people with children, because y'all are the biggest reasons why I want y'all to look at it that way. Because when it is time to move into those houses that you want to move into, you have more of that money available once you've closed on that house, that new house, because you've now made a profit here without doing anything. You're paying your rent. Your mortgage. You know what I'm saying? You're already paying that anyways. Why not be able to pocket some of those funds at the end when you sell the house, period. Mm-hmm. So when you have children, I want you to still think of it like this, because you're still going to be able to walk away with money in pocket.
I think some people may be apprehensive due to sometimes it's a lot harder to sell the house. Or they'll go into a situation where, it's they got to move now for some reason. Shit happens. It happens. Yeah. So some may be apprehensive due to that reason, but I think, in the beginning, if this is not going to be your forever home, take for instance me, I've been telling you, this is not our forever home.
I love
This is
this
a
house.
start. You know, this is income property. We just living in it while we fix it up and, you know, increase the equity into this house. That's my goal. So if you know that that's your goal, make sure it's in a location that will that you can easily sell the house. A lot of times people are, you know, get these homes in less than, what should I say, less than favorable areas. It's gonna be a lot harder for you to sell that house.
Yeah.
So be conscious and be intentional with where, you know, you make your moves. You know that's not going to be the home, so whether you want to sell it or whether you want to renting it, remember that's that, you know, right after you move, you rent it, you get residual income off that house to pay off the rest of the house, pay off the rest of the mortgage, or just to pocket if the house is paid off by the time you leave. I sat there and analyzed, you know, how much money I paid out renting. I think it was like 9 years from college to when I finally purchased my first home. And then I added up all that money. I was like, well, goddamn, I could have a whole house paid off.
Paid off.
Right now. So that really hit me hard. Like, damn, that was a lot of money I wasted.
And I think we have to learn how to like shift our thinking around it. Because Keith said something that I struggled with when we first moved in here, and Kiara was like, we're not staying here. And I was like, but why? I've put my blood, sweat, and love into this home.
You can stay in this
house,
but I'm out.
But I think we have to train our minds that you can buy a house, but you treat it like you're renting it. And that made it so much easier to buy a house because it didn't have to have everything on my checklist. Because I don't plan on staying here. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's the same price as a 2-bed, 1-bath apartment. And now I have a 3-bed, 2 full bath, garage, you know, backyard, front yard, you know, all of the perks of having a home, paying the same amount that I'm paying for an apartment. And so, like, realistically, when you rent, you're wasting money.
Yeah.
You're literally throwing money away. Like, I don't need this money. I need my money. I need my money. And this doesn't even begin to touch on if you do want to stay in your house, and for business owners who decide, we touched on this a little bit in our last live, if you buy the house as a business investment and then you rent it from your business. You know what I'm saying? We touched on that.
And all these repairs that you don't want to pay for, that you now have to pay for because you purchased the house. It's a write-off. It's a tax write-off.
They are now
get all that money back.
Tax write-off. Now, you hear us talk about tax write-offs a lot because we don't want you to think of these things as expenses. Okay? Your house is your investment, and it is an asset if used properly. And so we want to shift your thinking around thinking that a house is, you know, another thing you have to worry about. Because if you do it correctly, which is what we're trying to teach people, if you do it correctly, you end up profiting money. Not to mention that we, you know, document this house as our business unit, because y'all know we work from home. And so this is our business. So then that's another write-off. You know what I'm saying? So you get to write off, what is it, the interest? You get to write off all of the interest. Why do you write off?
Other expenses.
Well, and other expenses. I'm just saying, we said, you know, you get to write off the expenses. You get to write it off because it's the workspace. And you also get to write off all the interest.
And you're renting.
And you're renting it from yourself, your business entity. See what we're saying? And so you're spending the same money that you would for renting, except you as a business owner now own this asset. So you get all of the write-offs on top of that. And you also, if you do decide to sell it, which you don't have to, you can keep it in the family. I think a lot of...
Especially if you got kids. That goes back to the person that asked about children. That's something that you can pass down to your child. When you die, your money can't, you know, I mean, your not your money. What was I trying to say? Let me bring that back.
I don't know what I tried to help her, but I didn't know where she was going.
No, I really lost my train of thought, though. That's not funny.
I think you were trying to say, like, when you pass, like, when you move on.
Oh, when you move on, your credit score can't go to your children.
Right.
So, you know, who's know, unless you've educated your children on how to maintain a great credit score.
If y'all like what we're saying, drop green hearts. Give us some reacts. I want to make sure y'all are here, y'all listening, y'all paying attention.
But like I said, when you die, your credit score can't be passed down to your children. They're going to have to build that themselves. So unless you're educating them and teaching them ropes, you know, while you are still here, that's, unfortunately they're gonna have to have their own credit score to get their own house. But if you already got all these assets and things that you can pass down to your children to make things a lot easier for them, why would you not do that? So this is something that, you can be receiving that residual income off of, or like I said, you can sell it, whatever you do with the money, make investments for your children, handle it that way. But don't look at it as though, I want to, I'm saving all this money by renting because I don't want to pay the maintenance expenses. That should just, those are write-offs anyway. So it's not an expense. You have to shift your mindset.
And I want you to also think, how often do you call maintenance? Like, y'all act like y'all call maintenance every day. Is maintenance coming to your apartment every day? Because it already sounds like your house might not be worth it. Your apartment might not be worth it. You call it maintenance every day. We've been here for almost a year, and we've had, 2 maintenance things? And that was when we first moved in.
We hadn't even moved in yet.
We were like in the process of moving in. So if you're taking care of your home, because again, you got to remember, in an apartment, you're relying on the property to take care of that asset, right? They're responsible for taking care of it. But if you live in your house, I would assume that you're going to be taking care of it because you paying $100,000 and some $1,000 for it, right? So you take care of it a little bit differently. I ain't never cared about how green my grass was. Okay, that shit could have dog shit in it. I didn't care. But now let me come outside and I got a half a weed and I'm like, sprinkle some weed stuff. You know what I'm saying? Because it's different, because it's yours, and you want it to be nice. You want it to be presentable. You want it to feel like home to you. And so again, me and Kira had talked about, keeping this property. And for people who are like me, who don't want the burden of renting it to people, you can hire teams to do that. They have whole marketing teams.
We literally just had this conversation like an hour ago.
We did.
And I brought an opportunity to you, and you were like, I don't want to rent. I ain't got to deal with it.
I do not, me personally, I do not like renting, but I know like here in Atlanta, if y'all need help, if you live here, I know I have some people here. I also have some people in Indiana and Virginia. So if you guys are in any of those states and you need help trying to manage North Carolina and North Carolina. Yeah. So if you need help managing properties that you have because you don't want to deal with it, they have people to do that. You're already making a profit by renting it because you're going to rent it for more than the mortgage. Because if our mortgage is sitting at about $1,000 for a 3-bed, and I renovate this thing out, they're not paying $1,000 for this.
Renovate it out.
If we renovate,
rent it out.
No, I'm saying if we renovate it,
okay,
and then we rent it out,
okay,
then I'm not going to charge them what my mortgage is.
Right.
There's gonna be that's what they do when they rent. You're paying more than it actually costs. That's how property owners make money.
Right.
Because whatever they're paying a mortgage, they're now charging you what they want to charge you, which is going to be their mortgage. Plus, you're actually paying for maintenance. You're actually paying for pest control. You're actually paying for any other services that they're giving you. They're just putting it into your rent.
Right.
So you think that it's cheaper, but it's not. Because essentially, if you were to buy that exact same property and purchase it and own it, you would be paying significantly less.
Yeah.
Because again, we pay for maintenance as we need them.
Mm-hmm.
And then like for pest control, we pay like quarterly. Mm-hmm. And they come whenever we want during that quarter.
And we found a black owner.
And we found a black one. Alert
so if you're
exterminators.
in Atlanta, in the Atlanta
and they were
area,
really good. I like them. They were really good from the beginning. They got out here fast. They treated fast. And let me tell you, we know George, I don't know if y'all familiar with them little water bugs. Y'all call them water bugs. They roaches.
Ain't little.
They roaches. And I know he came in here and sprayed, and one little homie thought he was going to get up in my crib, and he was on his back before he even got to the other side of the room, because they treated the thing so good. Mm-hmm. Dead. That's how I like to see my bugs.
My bugs.
Dead.
What? Carry on.
Woo! Okay. But that's really what we want to start changing the conversation around. And I think a lot of it is just due to lack of knowledge. And so we want to be able to change that.
Not even just lack of knowledge, just the way that you're thinking.
That's mindset.
Yeah, your mindset, your mind shift.
But I mean, your mind can't shift until you understand really what all goes into it.
That's true.
You know what I'm saying? Like my mind didn't shift until I understood the ins and outs of home ownership and what that looks like. I will never rent again in my life. Like you know when y'all be watching these TVs on TV, be seeing the white family, and they be having their little kids, they be packing up their house, they done moved into a brand new house in a whole nother state. That's gonna be me. I'm not buying no apartments. It's not gonna happen.
Buying no.
I'm not renting no
I'll
apartment.
buy an
I'll buy
apartment.
apartments, but I'm not
I don't know
going.
what
I'm
she
not
talking
going
about.
to
She
be
ain't buying no apartments. I'll buy some apartments though.
Shut up. You know what
I'm
I
just
mean.
saying, we'll get it together. Well, let's get to some of these questions.
Hit these questions, y'all.
He said, I feel you. I think though other factors like, we already answered that one. Trey said, come redo her floors when
Trey,
she get her
good
house.
day. I told you no.
You know what?
We will never lay
we
another
bought this
floor
house.
again.
We did put, our knees to the ground and clanking and all of it. No, we ain't doing no more floors. We hired somebody for that. we took the cheap way out, on this first house, but that's where we gonna leave it. That's where we gonna leave it. Keith said, I'm thinking though, from feeling like you wanna feeling like you want a forever home. I would personally not want to move and buy a house to want to sell it.
That's what
I mean. It's preference. It's based on
people to understand. Like, you don't have to buy your forever home off jump. One, your preferences can change. You can outgrow homes. Key. I know for you, you just had another baby. I think the baby came already. They haven't. It has. Congratulations. It hasn't. Future congratulations. But
congratulations.
But you outgrow homes. But if y'all start looking at houses like you look at apartments, you know what I'm saying? Don't go into it like this needs to be my forever home. It needs to check off certain boxes. Is it close to the school zone that you want to be in? Mm-hmm. Does it have, enough bedrooms for you and your family? Again, because renovations and all of those things that you want to put into your house are now going to get you more money at the end. Mm-hmm. Any dollar that we spent in this house, we ain't tripping because one, it's going to be a write-off, so we're going to write off that money and get it back anyways. And then two, we're going to sell the house for a higher property value and get that money back as well. So we don't be worried about what we put into this house. I'd be wanting to paint cabinets. She'd be like, go at it. Go be great. Because it's not going to cost us anything in the end.
And she said she just don't want to keep moving the kids around.
That makes sense. I mean, I think if you... but you're still going to do that in an apartment. That doesn't change. If you're moving a lot because you're in an apartment or a house, it doesn't really matter if you're in a house or an apartment. Mm-hmm. So if you're moving around a lot, period, you're moving around a lot, period. So if you buy a house and then you decide you don't want to live there anymore, it would be the exact same as being in an apartment and deciding you don't want to live there anymore. Whether it's a house or an apartment doesn't change that fact. We're just saving you money while you do whatever it is that you're trying to work out. And building wealth within your family.
Mm-hmm. Crystal said, I'm seeing a lot more for sale, homes for sale in my area. And I'm like, wow, but apprehensive about purchasing a home since I will have a traveling career soon. Traveling career.
So
what?
You can have a traveling career. A lot of people who have traveling careers will still have like what they call a home base. Like this is their house. And then especially now with things like Airbnb, there's things where you can rent out your space for people to use for like production or videos or photo shoots.
Yeah, I had a guy that I know that he rents out his house to, I forgot what major show it is that rents out his house, but they come in $50,000 a day or some shit.
They be paying outrageous
based on their contract, but yeah, he's like, absolutely, you can move everything out of my house, shoot whatever you need to shoot, and put all my shit back.
So if you're not gonna,
why not? I ain't gonna be there no way.
And again, you're training your brain to look at your home as an asset. How can it make you money, right? And so if you're not going to be there and you have to rent somewhere else, why not figure out a way to generate income by using that property to pay for wherever you're staying when you're out of town? And this is what we want to do. Again, this will be your house where you own. This is yours, your tax write-off, your ability to make more cash flow if you decide to sell it. But there's plenty of resources online and offline where you can utilize your space when you're not there to still be generating an income. Period.
Trey says, what about after buying a house? My goal is units after that for a bigger, further out. Absolutely.
What was the question?
I don't know.
Trey,
what's the question?
I think Trey, you just saying you want to buy a house and then you also want to...
Units after that.
Oh,
I don't know.
Go for it?
Yeah, go for it. After you buy that house and you want to keep buying properties, absolutely,
that's what we
go for it. You're not living in all those properties.
Right. We got some land here and there. We're going to get some more land here and there to build houses on. We own this house. We're going to buy a new house probably next year.
Yeah.
And just finding new ways to maximize, what we're doing. What did Karen Cole say?